Hello, hello, fiends, and welcome to another horrific edition of Casey's Creepy Creations. Tonight we have a truly nauseating little nugget that I wrote and narrated, which I like to call Vengeance of the Dire Wolf, the Legend Reborn. As always, we caution that the above video is not suitable for children, and if you suffer from a weak heart, please watch at your own risk. The crimson sun sank below the horizon of Altair 4, casting long shadows across Coric's farmland. The stalks of neo-wheat swayed in the evening breeze, their silver-blue leaves reflecting the dying light. Coric Valerian wiped sweat from his brow, his massive frame still powerful, despite the years since he'd commanded the Emperor's dire wolves in battle. The scars crisscrossing his body told tales of 100 campaigns across the stars, of planetary subjugations and rebellions crushed beneath his boot. But those days were behind him now. The soil beneath his fingers brought peace. The blood of combat never could. His daughter's laughter echoed from the homestead, where Ilana played with the farm's mechanical servitor, while his wife Lyra prepared the evening meal. For 10 years he had known contentment here on this frontier world, far from the machinations of the Galactic Imperial Court and its master, Emperor Xanthus the Eternal. The communication sphere in his pocket vibrated, a sensation he had not felt in a decade. With dread, he withdrew the black orb, its surface swirling with nebulous patterns. He had kept it only as a reminder of what he had escaped. The sphere floated from his palm, expanding until the visage of Grand Magister Thul Korath materialized, his face a patchwork of mechanical implants and withered flesh. "Commander Valerian," the voice rasped, "His Imperial Majesty requires your service once more." Coric's jaw tightened. "I am no commander. The dire wolf hunts no more. My service ended when I claimed my homestead rights." "None leave the Emperor's service alive, Valerian. Surely a decade of rurality hasn't dulled your mind so completely." The Magister's mechanical eye whirred as it focused. "The natives of Proxima Centauri 3 resist Imperial enlightenment. Their primitive psionics confound our regular forces. Your familiarity with their techniques is required." "You mean the slaughter I led there 20 years ago? No. I have paid my blood debt to the Empire." The Emperor anticipated your reluctance. The Magister's lips curved into what might have been a smile on a more human face. "This is not a request. Report to Imperial Landing Zone Beta on the morrow, or face consequences." The sphere collapsed, leaving Coric alone in the field, his peace shattered. That night, as his family slept, Coric sat before the hearth, memories of atrocities committed in the name of Imperial glory haunting him. The decision was made before dawn. He would not return to that life of blood and horror. 3 days later, as Coric harvested the northern fields, he felt it. A disturbance in the air, a wrongness that raised the hair on his neck. 10 years of peace had not dulled his instincts. He sprinted toward the homestead, ancient combat reflexes flooding his system with adrenaline. Too late. The assassin stood in the ruins of his simple home, a figure of impossible geometry, its form shifting between dimensions, a void walker, one of the Emperor's personal killers, beings made of science so advanced it might as well be sorcery. At its feet lay Lyra and Ilana, their bodies contorted in death, faces frozen in expressions of cosmic terror. "The Emperor sends his regards, Commander," the thing said, its voice like glass breaking in vacuum. "The dire wolf should have remembered his master's call cannot be ignored. Rage blinded Korik, driving him forward despite knowing no mortal weapon could harm a Void Walker. But before he reached it, the assassin shimmered and vanished, its laughter echoing between worlds. Korik buried his family as the twin moons rose, his tears falling on soil now consecrated by innocent blood. When dawn broke, he entered the hidden chamber beneath the barn, unlocking the stasis field that held his past. The armor gleamed as if newly forged, reactive metal of impossible hardness, stolen from elder civilizations and fused with human technology. The neural interface tendrils writhed in anticipation as he donned the battle suit emblazoned with the snarling wolf sigil that had made him legend and monster alike. The legend of the dire wolf was not mine alone, he whispered to the empty room. It was forged in the blood of my enemies. Now it shall be reborn in vengeance. His hand hovered over the weapon rack. The plasma sword, the molecular disruptor, tools of his former trade. But what drew his gaze was a simple crystalline key, its facets refracting light in patterns that hurt the eye. The helm of Yognagrath, supposedly destroyed after the subjugation of the Hyades cluster. Korik had secretly kept it, knowing its true power and origin. The Emperor believed the helm merely enhanced psionic abilities, but Korik had learned its terrible truth from dying alien priests. It was a key to realms beyond normal space-time, to dimensions where entities of unimaginable power dwelled. Within a fortnight, Korik stood before the great spaceport of Altair Prime, his dire wolf armor concealed beneath common robes. The commercial hauler Midnight Huntress would take him to the Imperial throne world of Terra Nova. Its captain, a smuggler named Zaritha Darkin, asked no questions when he paid in ancient gold coins. Zaritha, with her shock of silver hair and eyes that reflected starlight too perfectly, clearly had secrets of her own, but she offered passage and silence, all he required. The Empire killed my family, he told her in the ship's dim galley. 3 jumps out from Altair. I go to return the favor. Her laugh was bitter honey. Many wished to challenge Xanthus. All failed. He is not merely emperor. He has transcended humanity through science, sorcery, and communion with powers beyond the veil. I know what he is, Korik growled. I helped him bind certain entities to his will during the Pleiades campaign. I know the price of his immortality. Then you know he cannot die while the dimensional seals hold, she replied, something ancient flickering behind her eyes. What will you do, dire wolf? One man against an empire? Korik revealed the crystalline key. I'll open doors better left closed. The huntress fell silent, her expression unreadable as starlight played across the helm's facets. On Terra Nova, the Imperial Palace spanned an entire continent, its architecture an impossible fusion of technology and nightmare geometry. Korik moved through the Undercity like a wraith, his combat implants, long dormant, now fully awakened. 3 Imperial Guard squads fell before they could raise alarms. A Cardinal Magister of the Technopathy Order never completed the spell that would have melted Korik's brain. Imperial security protocols, once his to command, now yielded before his assault. The dire wolf returns, whispered terrified guards as they fled. The legend was reborn with each life he took, the whisper spreading through the palace like wildfire. Deep within the palace's heart, past chambers where reality itself bent to the Emperor's will, Korik found the Nexus Chamber, the focal point where science and sorcery maintained Xanthus' immortality and power. The Emperor waited, seated upon a throne of living metal and crystallized souls. He appeared as Korik remembered, ageless, perfect, beautiful, and shape-shifting in a way that made the mind recoil. His smile was that of a predator who sees prey enter its domain willingly. "My faithful wolf returns," Xanthus said, his voice resonating with harmonics that made the air vibrate. "Did you think I did not anticipate this? Your family's deaths were merely convenient timing. You were always destined to return to my side." "I return only to end you," Korik growled, drawing his plasma sword, the blade glowing with the same baleful light that had earned him his title in 100 campaigns. The Emperor laughed, the sound distorting reality around them. "With that, I have transcended mortality, old friend. My consciousness spans dimensions. Kill this body, and I remain." "I know," Korik replied, producing the helm of Yog Nagrath. "That's why I brought this." For the first time, uncertainty crossed the Emperor's perfect features. "That was destroyed." "You believe so, as I believed I could escape your service." Korik placed the helm upon his head. "The dire wolf brings more than fangs to this hunt." Reality fractured. The chamber walls dissolved into writhing colors no human eye was meant to process. Tentacles of light and darkness reached through widening cracks in space-time. The Emperor rose, his form shifting between human and something altogether more terrible. "Stop! You don't understand what you're unleashing." "I understand perfectly," Korik replied, his voice overlaid with others, ancient and hungry. "They've waited millennia to reclaim what you stole from them." Through the fractures came things of impossible geometry, entities of pure thought and malevolence, ancient when stars were young. The being Xanthus had bound and harvested to fuel his immortality now sensed freedom. As the dimensional barriers collapsed completely, a blinding light filled the chamber. Korik felt himself falling, tumbling through realities, the helm burning against his skull. The last thing he saw was the Emperor's form dissolving into particles of light and shadow, his scream echoing across dimensions. When consciousness returned to Korik, he found himself lying on a crystalline beach beneath an alien sky of swirling purple and green. The helm was gone. His dire wolf armor remained, though changed, inscribed now with symbols he did not recognize, the wolf sigil seeming almost alive in the strange light. Far across the strange sea, a tower of impossible architecture rose into the alien sky, and standing beside him, Captain Zaritha's familiar form materialized like ghostly starlight. "Where are we?" Korik demanded. "The spaces between," she answered enigmatically. "The vengeance of the dire wolf opened doorways that cannot be easily closed." "And Xanthus, the Emperor?" Zaritha's expression remained unreadable, scattered across 1,000 dimensions. But whether destroyed or merely transformed, even I cannot say. The ancient ones you unleashed have their own designs. In the distance, something massive moved beneath the crystalline waves. Above, shapes of shadow and light danced between the clouds. "What happens now?" Korik asked, rising to his feet. "That," said Zaritha, her form beginning to shift into something both beautiful and terrible, "depends on what you choose to become in this new game of cosmic powers. For the Empire remains, though headless, and entities far older than humanity now watch your next move with great interest." A howl echoed across the alien landscape. whether from some strange beast or from the depths of Korik's own transformed soul, he could not tell. But he knew with certainty that the legend of the dire wolf had only begun its new chapter in realms beyond human comprehension. Across the galaxy, Imperial worlds reported strange phenomena, reality fractures, disappearances, whispers of rebellion, and in the Imperial Palace on Terra Nova, the throne room remained sealed by energies no Imperial technology could penetrate, while within, something pulsed with patient ancient hunger. Well, boils and ghouls, we've come to the end of yet another terrifying tale. If you've liked what you've seen, please feel free to drop us a like, a comment, or maybe even a subscription. They may seem like little things to you, but they mean a lot to us here at the dungeon. If you liked the video and would like to find out how it was made, click the link in the description below. I am affiliated with Fleeky AI and will receive commission if you decide to make a purchase. They also have a free plan as well if you would like to try it out. And by the way, if you like what we've got for you here, then maybe you might want to check out these other YouTubers, Overlord DVD, Theta Zord, Osaka Chandal, and Stark of Iron. Links in description. They're to die for. Thanks, and unpleasant dreams until we meet again.